I stood in the back of the reception hall watching my sister-in-law toast the happy couple when she called me a parasite in front of 200 guests. I didn't yell, didn't make a scene. I just smiled, walked to the microphone, and asked the best man to read the invoice. I'd slipped him an hour before. Her champagne glass hit the floor before he finished the first line. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. The wedding was at the Riverside Estate, 45 minutes outside the city. Oak trees lining the drive, string lights everywhere. The kind of venue that runs 15 grand just to unlock the doors. I'd driven up alone. My wife Margaret couldn't make it. Chemo takes a lot out of you. She'd insisted I go anyway. Said Daniel was my little brother. Said family matters. I should have stayed home. I parked near the back of the lot. Gravel crunched under my boots, the kind they charge extra to spread. I could hear music drifting from the pavilion. Something classical. Probably cost more than my first car. I checked my phone. Margaret had texted 20 minutes ago. Just a thumbs up emoji. That meant the nausea had passed. Small victories. The reception hall smelled like lilies and money. Ice sculptures on every table. The bar was open. Premium shelf only. I recognized the whiskey they were pouring. 120 a bottle. I know because I'd bought 3 cases of it last month when Daniel asked if I could help with the bar budget. Help. That was the word he used. Help implied partial. I'd covered the whole damn thing. Daniel spotted me first. He looked good, happy. The tux fit him well, probably because I'd paid for the alterations when he said the rental didn't quite work. He waved me over. His new wife, Vanessa, stood beside him, blonde, tall, the kind of pretty that knows it. Her dress probably cost what I make in a month. I know because Daniel had mentioned the designer. Said it was important to Vanessa. Said her family had expectations. You made it, Daniel said. He hugged me, quick, polite. The kind of hug you give someone you're obligated to acknowledge. Wouldn't miss it, I said. Vanessa smiled. Didn't reach her eyes. So glad you could come. She looked past me. Margaret couldn't make it. She's not feeling well. Oh, no follow-up question. No concern. Just, oh. Daniel shifted his weight. Well, bar's open. Food's about to come out. Make yourself comfortable. They moved on. Next guest, next greeting. I grabbed a beer. Not the expensive stuff, just a domestic. Felt wrong drinking the whiskey I'd paid for. Don't know why. I found a table near the back, close to the exit. Old habit. The meal was salmon or filet. I took the salmon. It was good, better than good. The kind of food that requires 3 forks. I watched people eat and laugh, watched them toast, watched them dance. I thought about Margaret at home, probably asleep. The medication does that. Knocks her out for hours. She'd been fighting this thing for 8 months. Stage 3. The doctors said the odds were decent. Decent isn't great. Decent is just not terrible. The best man stood up to make his speech. His name was Trevor. I'd met him once. Daniel's college roommate. He told some story about Daniel stealing a rival fraternity's mascot. Everyone laughed. He told another about a road trip to Vegas. More laughs. Then he raised his glass. To Daniel and Vanessa, may your marriage be half as generous as the open bar tonight. People clapped. I clapped. Then came the other speeches. Vanessa's maid of honor went next. Talked about how Vanessa always knew what she wanted, how she never settled, how she deserved the best. The subtext wasn't subtle. Then Vanessa's mother stood. This was going to be something. I could tell by how she adjusted the microphone. My daughter, she started, has always had impeccable taste. She gestured around the room. As you can see tonight. More laughter. When she told me she was marrying Daniel, I'll admit I had concerns. Awkward pause. Some nervous chuckles. Not about Daniel himself. He's a sweet boy. But about whether they were ready. Whether they had the foundation. She looked directly at my table. At me. But Vanessa assured me they had family support. The right kind of support. People who understand what it takes to build a proper life. My stomach tightened. I knew where this was going. Of course, she continued. Not all family contributions are equal. She smiled. Cold. Some people give because they love. Some people give because they want something. And some people give because they have nothing else to offer. Her eyes locked on mine. We all know someone like that. Someone who attaches themselves to success because they can't create their own. Someone who shows up with their checkbook because they can't show up any other way. She paused. Let it sink in. Some might call that generosity. I call it what it is. Parasitic. The room went quiet. Not silent. Quiet. The kind where people shift in their seats and stare at their plates. I felt 200 pairs of eyes trying not to look at me. Daniel's face went red. Vanessa touched her mother's arm. Whispered something, but the damage was done. I stood up, legs steady, heart pounding. I walked toward the front, slow, deliberate. People parted. I reached the microphone. Vanessa's mother stepped back. Probably thought I was going to make a scene, yell, maybe cry. I just smiled. Trevor, I said, could you come here for a second? Trevor looked confused, but he got up, walked over. I pulled an envelope from my jacket pocket, handed it to him. He opened it, started reading. His eyes went wide. Would you mind reading that out loud? I asked. I think everyone should hear it. Trevor looked at Daniel, at Vanessa, at me. I nodded. He cleared his throat. It's an invoice, Trevor said. From Riverside Estate, made out to... He paused. Made out to Robert Jennings. That's me. For venue rental. $15,700. Paid in full, 3 months ago. The room got quieter. Now it was silent. Keep going, I said. Trevor flipped the page. Catering invoice. Pelican Bay Catering Services. 160 guests. $83 per plate. Total $13,280. Paid by Robert Jennings. 2 months ago. He looked up. I gestured for him to continue. Bar service. Premium package. $4,900. Flowers. $3,200. Photography. $4,500. Band. $6,000. Dress alterations. $800. Tuxedo rentals for groomsmen. $2,100. His voice got quieter with each line. Rehearsal dinner. $3,600. Wedding invitations. $1,200. Transportation. $2,200. He stopped. Did the math in his head. Total. $54,780. No one moved. Vanessa's mother's face went white. Actually white. Like someone had drained the blood out. My wife has cancer, I said. Not loud, not quiet. Just factual. Stage 3. Treatment costs about $9,000 a month after insurance. We've been paying out of pocket for 8 months. That's $72,000. I looked at Vanessa's mother. I've been working double shifts for a year. Weekends. Holidays. Every hour I can get. Because that's what you do for family. Real family. I turned to Daniel. When you called 6 months ago, said you needed help with the wedding. Said Vanessa's family was contributing, but you were short. Said you'd pay me back. I said yes. Not because I wanted something. Not because I'm a parasite, but because you're my brother. And I thought that mattered. Daniel's eyes were wet. Vanessa looked at the floor. I didn't come here for thanks, I continued. I came here because Margaret told me to. Because she said family shows up. Even when it's hard. Even when it costs everything. I took the envelope back from Trevor. But I'm done now. Done being called names. Done being treated like I'm less than. Done pretending this is family. I looked at the room. At all the people in their expensive clothes eating expensive food. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I paid for it. I walked out. No one stopped me. No one followed. I got in my truck. Hands shaking now. Started the engine. Pulled out of the gravel lot. The string lights got smaller in my rearview mirror. I made it about 3 miles before I had to pull over. Just sat there on the shoulder. Breathing. The steering wheel was cold under my palms. My phone rang. Daniel. I didn't answer. It rang again. Vanessa. Didn't answer. Again. Daniel. Again. Vanessa's mother. That one made me laugh. Dark laugh. Empty laugh. I turned the phone off. The drive home took forever. Every mile felt like 5. I kept thinking about Margaret. About how I'd tell her what happened. About whether I'd done the right thing. About whether it mattered. She was awake when I got home. Sitting up in bed, laptop open, some show playing. She looked at me. Knew something was wrong. Always knew. What happened? She asked. I told her. Every word. Every detail. When I got to the part about the invoice, she smiled. When I got to the part about walking out, she nodded. When I finished, she closed the laptop. Good, she said. Good? You stood up. You told the truth. That's good. I ruined their wedding. No, you revealed their wedding. There's a difference. She patted the bed. I sat down. How much do we have left? In savings? The question hit different. About 12,000. Maybe 13. That's 2 months of treatment. Maybe 3 if we're careful. I'll pick up more shifts. Robert, I will. She took my hand. Hers was cold. Always cold now. What if we didn't? Didn't what? Didn't do more treatment. My chest went tight. Don't say that. The odds aren't good. You know that. I know that. We've spent everything. You've worked yourself to nothing. And for what? 2 more months? 3? Her eyes were clear, steady. What if we just lived? Really lived? With what we have left. I'm not giving up on you. I'm not asking you to give up. I'm asking you to let go. We sat there, her hand in mine. The house, quiet. The kind of quiet that feels like a choice. I'll think about it, I said. Okay. But I knew. She knew. We were done fighting a fight we couldn't win. Not with money. Not with time. Not with anything we had left. The next morning I woke up to 63 missed calls. Texts. Voicemails. Emails. I ignored them all. Made coffee. Margaret was still asleep. I sat on the back porch. The air was cold. Fall coming in hard. The trees in the yard were starting to turn. Red, orange, yellow. Margaret loved this time of year. Said it reminded her that beautiful things don't last. That's what makes them beautiful. My phone rang. Not Daniel this time. My mother. I thought about not answering. But she was 78. Didn't deserve to be ignored. Hello, Robert. What on earth happened last night? Daniel didn't tell you? He told me his version. I want yours. I gave it to her. Short version. Facts only. She listened. Didn't interrupt. When I finished, she sighed. How much did you spend? 54,000. Give or take. Another sigh. Longer. And he didn't tell me. No. Did he ever plan to pay you back? I don't know. But you suspect. Yeah, I suspect. She was quiet. I could hear her breathing. Shallow. Tired. I'm sorry, she said. Not your fault. I raised him, so maybe it is. Pause. What are you going to do? About what? About the money. About him. Nothing. It's done. Gone. I said what I needed to say. And Margaret? That question hurt. We're figuring it out. The treatment isn't working. Not a question. A statement. My mother always knew. No, it's not. Then come home. Both of you. Stay here. Let me help. Mom, I'm not asking. I'm telling. You've given everything to everyone. Let someone give to you. I thought about it. About the house I grew up in. About my mother's cooking. About not being alone in this. I'll talk to Margaret. Good. I love you. Love you too. She hung up. I sat there, coffee getting cold. Phone still buzzing. I turned it off again. Went inside. Margaret was up, making tea. She looked at me. My mother called, I said. And? She wants us to come stay with her. Margaret nodded. Slow. That sounds nice. Yeah? Yeah. So we did. Packed up 2 weeks later. Not much to pack. We'd sold most of it to cover treatment, furniture, collectibles, Margaret's jewelry, my tools, everything that wasn't nailed down or necessary. What we had left fit in the truck bed. We drove 6 hours north, to the house I grew up in. White 2-story with blue shutters. My mother was waiting on the porch. She looked smaller than I remembered, older, but her hug was the same. Strong, real. We settled in. Margaret took the guest room downstairs. Easier for her, no stairs. My mother cooked. Real food, not hospital food, not microwave dinners. Pot roast, chicken and dumplings, apple pie. Margaret ate more than she had in months. Color came back to her face. Just a little, but enough. Daniel called every day for the first week. I didn't answer. He left voicemails, long ones, said he was sorry, said he didn't know his mother-in-law would say that, said he was going to pay me back, said we should talk. Delete, delete, delete. The second week he showed up. Just appeared on the porch one morning. I was drinking coffee. He looked rough, tired, older somehow. Marriage does that sometimes. Can we talk? He asked. No, Robert, please. I don't have anything to say to you. Then just listen. I didn't answer, didn't move. He took that as permission. I'm sorry, he started. I'm so sorry. I didn't know she was going to say that. I swear I didn't. But you knew I paid for everything. Yes. And you let her talk about parasites, about people who give because they want something. And you said nothing. He looked at his shoes. Expensive shoes. Probably wedding shoes. I froze. I didn't know what to do. You could have told the truth. You could have stood up. You could have said, "This is my brother and he saved our wedding." I set my coffee down. But you didn't. Because that would have embarrassed you. Would have made you look like you couldn't afford your own wedding. And that mattered more than I did. That's not fair. Fair? I laughed. You want to talk about fair? I worked 70-hour weeks for a year. Missed Margaret's appointments. Missed time with her. Time I can't get back. Time she doesn't have. So you could have a party. So you could impress your new wife and her family. And when they humiliated me, you stayed silent. I stood up. That's not about fairness. That's about character. I'm going to pay you back. Every cent. I promise. I don't want your money. Then what do you want? I want you to leave. I want you to go back to your wife and your new life. And I want you to understand that actions have consequences. You don't get to treat people like ATMs and then say sorry when it's convenient. Robert, leave. He stood there, looked like he might cry. Part of me wanted him to feel something real. But he just nodded, walked back to his car. Nice car. New, probably financed. He drove away. I didn't watch. Margaret was standing in the doorway. You okay? Yeah. Liar. She was right. I wasn't okay. Wasn't sure I'd be okay for a while, but I was done pretending. Done performing. Done being who people needed me to be. The weeks turned into months. Margaret's condition stabilized. Not better, not cured, but stable. The doctors said that happens sometimes. Body just decides to hold on. We took it as a gift. Spent the days slow. Walks in the morning, coffee on the porch, old movies at night. The kind of time that feels stolen because it's borrowed. My mother never asked about Daniel, never brought up the money, never said I told you so even though she probably thought it. She just cooked and hummed and kept the house warm. That was her way. Always had been. 3 months after the wedding, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer. But something made me, is this Robert Jennings? Yes. This is Patricia Holbrook, Vanessa's mother. My stomach dropped. What do you want? I want to apologize. I didn't respond. Didn't trust it. What I said at the wedding was cruel, inexcusable. I've been thinking about it every day since, about how wrong I was, about what you must have been going through. Okay, I'm sending a check for what you spent, plus interest. I don't want your money. It's not about what you want. It's about what's right. She paused. I spoke to Daniel. He told me about Margaret, about the treatment, about what you sacrificed. I had no idea. He should have told you before. Yes, he should have, but I should have asked. Should have cared enough to know. Her voice cracked. Actually cracked. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I am trying to make it right. You can't make this right. I know, but I can try. The check arrived a week later. $54,780. Plus $3,000 in interest. I stared at it for a long time, thought about tearing it up, thought about sending it back. But then I thought about Margaret, about treatment, about time. I deposited it, used it for her care, for better doctors, for experimental treatments, for anything that might give us more days, more hours, more minutes. It bought us 6 more months. 6 good months. 6 months of laughter and sunsets and holding hands. 6 months I wouldn't trade for anything. Margaret passed on a Tuesday. Morning. Quiet. My mother and I were there. She just stopped breathing. One moment she was there. Next, she was gone. The doctor said it was peaceful. I don't know if that's true. Don't know if dying is ever peaceful. But it was quick. That was something. The funeral was small. My mother, a few friends, Margaret's sister. Not Daniel. I didn't invite him. Didn't want him there. Didn't want his apologies or his guilt or his performance. This was for Margaret. For the people who actually showed up while she was alive. After the service, after everyone left, I sat in the cemetery. Just sat. The headstone was simple. Margaret Ann Jennings, beloved wife. That's all it needed to say. The sun was setting. Orange and pink. Her favorite colors. I thought about the last thing she said to me. 3 days before she died. Barely conscious. But clear. Don't stay angry. Life's too short. I wasn't sure I could do that. Wasn't sure I wanted to. But I'd think about it. For her, my mother found me an hour later. Come home, she said. In a minute. It's getting cold. I know. She sat down beside me. Didn't say anything, just sat. We stayed until the sun was gone, until the cold was real, until there was no reason left to stay. The estate settled quickly. Margaret and I didn't have much. The house had been sold. The savings spent. What was left went to medical debt. I ended up with about $8,000. A truck, some clothes. That was it. 43 years old and starting over with nothing. My mother said I could stay as long as I wanted. I said I'd stay until I figured out what was next. That was 4 months ago. I'm still here, still figuring it out. Daniel reached out again last month. Email this time. Said he was divorced. Said Vanessa left him. Said her mother's apology had caused problems, arguments, accusations. Said he understood now what I'd been trying to tell him. Said he wanted to make things right. I didn't respond. Maybe I will someday. Maybe I won't. I'm not angry anymore. Margaret was right about that. Life's too short for anger. But I'm not ready for reconciliation either. Some bridges burn for a reason. Some distances are necessary. I started working again. Nothing fancy. Hardware store in town. 32 hours a week. Enough to contribute to my mother's household. Enough to feel useful. The work is simple, mindless. I like that. Don't have to think too hard. Don't have to be anyone but myself. One of my coworkers asked me last week if I had any regrets about the money, about the wedding, about calling Daniel out in front of everyone. I thought about it. Really thought about it. No, I said. Really? All that money, all that drama, and you don't regret it? The money was gone either way. At least this way the truth came out. At least Margaret knew I stood up. I organized some paint cans. Regret is for things you didn't do. I did what I needed to do. What about your brother? What about him? You miss him? That question was harder. I miss who I thought he was. But that person doesn't exist. Maybe never did. So no, I don't miss him. The truth is more complicated than that. But it's close enough. Some losses hurt because you lost something valuable. Other losses hurt because you lost something you thought was valuable. That's different. Harder to explain. Easier to survive. I think about the wedding sometimes. About standing at that microphone. About the look on Vanessa's mother's face when Trevor read the invoice. About the silence. Part of me wishes I'd handled it differently, been quieter, more private, but most of me knows that wouldn't have mattered. Some truths need an audience. Some justice is only real when it's witnessed. My mother says I'm healing, says she can see it, says I laugh more, smile easier. Maybe she's right. Maybe time does that. Softens the edges, makes the past less sharp. Or maybe I'm just tired of carrying it. Either way, I'm lighter than I was. That's something. I visited Margaret's grave yesterday. Brought flowers, daisies, her favorite. Sat there for a while. Told her about work, about Mom, about how I'm doing, about how I'm trying to do what she asked. Trying not to stay angry, trying to live. A woman was visiting the grave next to Margaret's. Older woman, maybe 60. We nodded at each other. She finished first. Stood up. Looked at me. Your wife? She asked. Yes. I'm sorry. Thank you. She started to walk away, then stopped. Can I ask you something? Sure. How do you keep coming back? To the cemetery. Doesn't it make it worse? I thought about that. No, it makes it real. She was here. She mattered. This is proof of that. The woman nodded, smiled. Sad smile. That's a good answer. She left. I stayed a little longer, until the sun started to set, until the air got cold, until it was time to go home. On the drive back, I thought about what I'd told her, about proof, about mattering, about how we mark the things that count. I thought about the wedding, about the invoice, about making truth visible. Maybe that's all justice is, making truth visible, making sure people see what actually happened, not the story they want to tell, not the version that makes them comfortable, but the real thing, the documented thing, the thing that can't be argued away. My phone rang. Number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Robert Jennings? Yes. This is Michael Torres. I'm an attorney. I represent the estate of Patricia Holbrook. My chest tightened. Okay, Miss. Holbrook passed away 2 weeks ago. Cancer. She left specific instructions regarding you. What kind of instructions? She's left you a bequest, $50,000, with a letter. Can I email you the details? I pulled over. Had to. Couldn't drive and process that. Why? The letter explains, but she wanted you to know she never forgot what she said, what she did. She wanted to make it right, in whatever way she could. The email came through that night. The letter was short, handwritten, scanned. Mr. Jennings, I'm dying. The doctors say weeks, maybe days. I've spent this time thinking about my life, about my mistakes, about the people I hurt. You're at the top of that list. What I said at the wedding was unforgivable. Not just wrong, cruel. I judged you without knowing you, attacked you for being generous, called you a parasite for doing what any good brother would do. I'm leaving you this money not because it fixes anything. It doesn't. But because I want my last act to be one of acknowledgement. You were right. I was wrong. Some truths need to be said out loud. Thank you for saying them. For not letting my cruelty stand unchallenged. I hope you use this money for something that matters. Something that makes the world less like me and more like you. Patricia, I read it 3 times. Then I showed it to my mother. She read it once, handed it back. Well, she said, well, what are you going to do with it? I don't know, but I did know. Deep down, I just needed time to admit it. I used the money to start a fund, the Margaret Jennings Memorial Fund. Helps families with cancer pay for treatment. Not a lot, not enough to cure anyone, but enough to ease the burden, enough to give them one less thing to worry about. That's what Margaret would have wanted. Not revenge, not justice, just help, real help, for people who need it. The fund helped 12 families in the first year, paid for medication, transportation, childcare, the small things that add up, the things insurance doesn't cover, the things that break people. I volunteered to review applications, to talk to families, to listen to their stories. It helped, gave me purpose, gave Margaret's death meaning. That's all you can hope for sometimes. Meaning. Daniel heard about the fund. Don't know how. Small town, probably. He donated $5,000 with a note. For Margaret, and for all the things I should have said. I didn't acknowledge it, didn't thank him. But I didn't send it back either. The fund isn't about me and him. It's bigger than that. So his money went in. Went to work, helped people. That's what matters. I saw him once, 6 months ago, at the grocery store. He looked different, thinner, tired. He saw me, started to come over. I turned down another aisle, wasn't ready. Maybe never will be. He didn't follow. That was smart. Some distances need to stay distances. My mother asked me last week if I'd ever forgive him. I already have, I said. You have? Yeah. Forgiveness isn't about him. It's about me. I'm not carrying that weight anymore. I'm not giving him that power. So, yeah, I forgive him. I poured coffee. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation, doesn't mean trust, doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. What does it mean? It means I'm done letting it define me, done being the guy whose brother betrayed him. I'm just me now. That's enough. She smiled. When did you get so wise? When I ran out of other options. That made her laugh. Real laugh. The kind that fills a room. I'd missed that sound. Missed a lot of sounds. But they were coming back. Slowly. Like color returning after winter. Like warmth after cold. I sleep better now. Most nights. Don't dream about the wedding anymore. Don't dream about Margaret dying. Just regular dreams. Forgettable dreams. The kind that mean your brain is healing, processing, moving on. I'm dating someone. Her name is Claire. We met at the hardware store. She was buying paint. Couldn't decide between two shades of blue. I helped her. We talked. She laughed at something I said. I asked if she wanted coffee. She said yes. That was 4 months ago. She knows about Margaret, about the wedding, about Daniel, about all of it. I told her early, figured she deserved to know what she was getting into. She listened, didn't judge, didn't try to fix it, just listened. That sounds really hard, she said. It was. Are you okay now? I thought about that. Getting there. Good. And that was it. No big speech. No therapy session. Just acknowledgement. Just presence. Sometimes that's all you need. We're taking it slow. No pressure. No expectations. Just coffee and walks and conversations. She makes me laugh. Really laugh. The kind that comes from your stomach. The kind that surprises you. I'd forgotten what that felt like. What it meant to be light. To be present. To be something other than grief or anger or righteousness. My mother likes her. Says she's good for me. Says I smile more when she's around. She's probably right. Mothers usually are. I think about the wedding sometimes. About that moment at the microphone. About whether I'd do it again. The answer is yes. Not because I'm proud of it. Not because I think it was perfect. But because it was true. Because silence would have been complicity. Because some moments demand that you speak. Even if it costs you. Even if it burns bridges. Even if it changes everything. Trevor, the best man, reached out last year. Said he thought about that night all the time. Said it changed how he saw things. Saw people. Said he'd been in a similar situation since. Friend asking for money, lots of money. Said he thought about the invoice, about the truth, about what happens when you pretend obligations are gifts. He said no to the friend, set boundaries. Felt guilty but firm. You gave me permission to value myself, he wrote, to not light myself on fire to keep other people warm. Thank you. I didn't know what to say to that. Didn't know my moment had rippled beyond that room, beyond that night. But I guess that's how truth works. It doesn't stay contained. It spreads. It infects. It changes things. The fund is doing well. We helped 30 families this year. Raised enough for next year, too. People donate. Small amounts mostly. $20, $50. But it adds up. Margaret would love that. Would love knowing her name is attached to something that helps. Something that matters. Something that makes the spaces between pain a little more bearable. I still work at the hardware store. Still live with my mother. Still drive the same truck. Nothing fancy. Nothing impressive. But it's honest. It's mine. No one can take it from me. No one can call it parasitic. Because I'm not performing anymore. Not pretending. Just living. Just being. That's revolutionary in its own way. Quiet revolution. Personal revolution. The kind that doesn't make the news, but changes your life. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd stayed quiet that night, if I'd let the parasite comments slide. If I'd smiled and nodded and eaten my salmon and gone home, would I still have Margaret? Would I have regained those 6 months? Would things be different? Probably not. Cancer doesn't care about dignity or silence. It takes what it wants, ends what it ends. My speaking up didn't kill her. My silence wouldn't have saved her. So I'm glad I spoke. Glad I stood. Glad I made truth visible. Because at least now I can live with myself. At least now the person I see in the mirror is someone I recognize, someone I respect. That's the real victory. Not revenge, not justice, not even vindication, just self-respect. Just knowing you didn't betray yourself to keep peace. You didn't swallow poison to avoid discomfort. You didn't pretend to be smaller so others could feel bigger. I told Claire about this last night, about self-respect, about how it's the only thing worth protecting. She nodded. That's why I left my ex-husband, she said. Yeah? Yeah. He wasn't cruel, wasn't mean, just dismissive, made me feel small, made me doubt myself. One day I realized I was performing, being who he needed instead of who I was. So I left. Hardest thing I ever did, a best thing too. Do you regret it? Never. Not once. She smiled. You can't build a life on pretending. Eventually the foundation cracks. She was right. The foundation always cracks. Better to build on truth from the start, even if it's harder, even if it's lonelier, even if it costs everything. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. I opened it. This is Vanessa. I know you don't want to hear from me, but I thought you should know. I'm getting remarried. To someone different. Someone better. I learned a lot from what happened. From what you said. I was wrong. My mother was wrong. Daniel was wrong. I'm sorry. I hope you're well. I stared at it for a long time. Thought about responding. Thought about saying something. But what was there to say? Sorry doesn't undo anything. Doesn't change the past. Doesn't restore what was taken. It's just a word. Sometimes words aren't enough. I deleted it. Not out of anger, just out of closure. That chapter was done. No need to keep reading it. Claire looked at me. Everything okay? Yeah. Just ghosts. They go away? They're leaving. She squeezed my hand. We sat there, on my mother's porch, evening settling in, the air cool but not cold, fall coming but not here yet, that in-between space, that liminal time, where things are ending and beginning at once, where grief and hope exist side by side, where you can mourn the past and want the future simultaneously. That's where I am now, in between, not stuck, not lost, just transitioning, from who I was to who I'm becoming, from husband to widower to something else, something undefined, something open. The stars came out, slow at first, then all at once. Margaret used to say, that's how healing works. Slow, then sudden. You think nothing's changing. Then one day you realize you're different, better, whole in a new way. A way that accommodates the loss instead of denying it. A way that makes room for scars without being defined by them. I think she was right. I think that's where I am, healed in a new way. Not the same as before, never the same, but functional, capable, ready for whatever comes next. My mother opened the door. You two coming in? I made pie. What kind? Claire asked. Apple. Claire looked at me. I shrugged. We stood up, went inside. The house smelled like cinnamon and butter, smelled like home, real home, the kind you choose. The kind you build, not the kind you're born into, not the kind that demands loyalty without earning it, but the kind that shows up, that stays, that proves itself through action, not words. We ate pie, talked about nothing important, laughed at something dumb on TV, lived a normal evening, a good evening, the kind that doesn't make a story, doesn't need a resolution, just exists, just is, and that's enough. After everything, after the betrayal and the speeches and the loss and the anger, after the grief and the healing and the slow reconstruction of self, after all of it, a normal evening, a good evening, that's enough. That's everything. If you like this story, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions in the comments. To listen to more stories, click on the window on the right. Thank you for being with us.